Valerie.
Pam, one of the challenges here is that diplomacy efforts not only have to be fast, they have to be delicately performed, and they have to anticipate the future because, as we've been learning since World War II, there is always the chance that today's friends are tomorrow's enemies. The road to building alliances is a tricky and difficult business.
We want each country to do that which it feels is appropriate for that country.
Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld, wrapping up a 5-nation tour, faces the challenge of making friends of leaders who might just as easily function as enemies.
These regimes are a mix of things, and the government does not want to have the same problem that it inherited after the Reagan administration got very close to people they call freedom fighters, and many of these freedom fighters turned out to be the Taliban.
The Taliban is widely acknowledged to have been created by Pakistan, an effort to control Afghanistan in post-Soviet times. But Pakistan appears to be giving way to U.S. pressure, its support of the Taliban waning, and its borders ever vulnerable to the flood of Afghans seeking a safe haven. To ease the pain, the U.S. will send $100 million in aid to the region and openly allow the country to test nuclear weapons, just part of the deal.
It appears that the deals we're striking have a great deal to do with the promises of assistance and aid.
Rumsfeld's trip has caused rare friction between the U.S. and Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Sharon says the U.S. is trying to appease Arab nations, potentially at Israel's expense.
Israeli public opinion is very sensitive to what any signal from Washington means as it cozies up to Arab neighbors. But you have to do this. It's a very difficult game. You just play it with a degree of sophistication. And if one group over the other is unhappy, they'll just have to be unhappy for the next couple of months.
In Egypt, President Mubarak promises to offer valuable intelligence information. In Oman, in Saudi Arabia, and in Uzbekistan, the U.S. will be allowed to use specific military bases. And Turkey pledges its support for the war on terrorism. Each of these nations must answer to fundamentalist Muslims within its own borders. By helping the U.S., they risk backlash and instability, groundwork for more potential crises.
It's difficult for the Americans to play this game, and it's always changing every week.
The U.S. is also making efforts to contribute cash to forces inside Afghanistan sympathetic to the U.S. cause. The challenge there is trying to figure out which forces are going to be strongest once the dust has settled. Pam?